For decades after the Soviet Union's collapse, American military power was unrivaled, shaping global politics and economics. The U.S. could project force anywhere, anytime, a reality that defined the post-Cold War era. But this era is ending, driven by the rise of China. China has transformed its military, the PLA, from a large, outdated force into a high-tech challenger, especially near its own shores. The PLA's focus is anti-access area denial, a 2/AD, meant to make U.S. operations near China costly and risky, especially in a Taiwan crisis. Advanced missiles, submarines, and cyber capabilities now threaten the American way of war, which relied on air and sea superiority. This shift is already forcing U.S. allies in Asia to rethink their security strategies. The foundation of America's global influence, its role as security provider, is being directly contested. Comfortable post-Cold War assumptions are gone, replaced by a new era of great power competition. The question is no longer if the unipolar moment is over, but what comes next. Understanding this shift is crucial for grasping the future of international relations. The world is entering a period of uncertainty and recalibration. China's military modernization has been rapid and relentless. The PLA Navy is now the world's largest by number of ships, evolving from coastal defense to a blue water fleet. China's aircraft carriers, especially the advanced Fujian with electromagnetic catapults, showcase its leap from imitation to innovation. The plan's new destroyers and submarines are heavily armed and mass-produced, outpacing U.S. shipbuilding. This industrial capacity is a strategic advantage, allowing China to expand and sustain its fleet quickly. The PLA Air Force has also advanced, fielding stealth fighters like the J-20 to rival U.S. F-22S and F-35S. China is developing long-range bombers that could threaten U.S. bases far from its shores. These advances mean U.S. air and naval dominance in the region is no longer guaranteed. The pace of China's technological progress is forcing the U.S. to rethink its own military edge. China's rapid shift from technological laggard to near-peer competitor is reshaping the balance of power. The U.S. can no longer take its superiority for granted. The military playing field is leveling. The stakes for future conflicts are higher than ever. The world is watching this transformation unfold. China is racing to dominate the technologies that will define future warfare. Hypersonic missiles, traveling at 5 times the speed of sound, threaten U.S. carriers and bases, challenging current defenses. China's space capabilities, anti-satellite missiles, co-orbital satellites, and ground-based lasers can disrupt U.S. communications and navigation. The U.S. military's reliance on space assets is a vulnerability China aims to exploit. Artificial intelligence is another battleground, with China integrating AI into military strategy for faster decision-making and autonomous systems. The PLA's doctrine of intelligentized warfare seeks to outpace human-led adversaries. China's policy of military-civil fusion ensures that commercial tech advances feed directly into military power. This state-driven innovation ecosystem is hard for the West to match. China's advances in AI, quantum computing, and biotech are rapidly closing the gap. The future of warfare will be shaped by whoever leads in these technologies. The race is on, and the outcome is uncertain. China's challenge to U.S. military dominance is backed by a sweeping diplomatic and economic strategy. The Belt and Road Initiative creates economic dependencies and extends China's influence through infrastructure projects worldwide. Ports built with Chinese investment can double as naval hubs, expanding the plan's reach. China's overseas military base in Djibouti and security pacts in the Pacific signal growing global ambitions. Beijing is reshaping international institutions to favor its interests and exporting arms to build partnerships. Many nations, especially in the global south, welcome Chinese investment but are wary of security entanglements. China's blend of economic, diplomatic, and military tools is building influence without direct confrontation. The U.S. faces a strategic environment where power is wielded as much through economics as through force. China's military rise is forcing the U.S. to rethink its strategy and alliance structure. U.S. bases in Asia are now vulnerable to China's missile barrages, making forward deployment riskier. The Pentagon is shifting to more dispersed mobile operations to avoid a knockout blow. This transition is complex, costly, and requires new technologies and host nation cooperation. America's alliances are under strain. Japan and Australia are boosting their defenses, but others, like South Korea, are cautious. European allies remain focused on Russia, limiting their Indo-Pacific commitments. The gap between allied rhetoric and real military contributions is growing. China exploits these divisions, using economic leverage to discourage a united front. The U.S. faces a more fragmented and uncertain security landscape. Maintaining alliance cohesion is now a central challenge. The U.S. must adapt quickly to preserve its influence. The stakes for regional stability are rising. The path forward is anything but clear. Military power rests on economic and industrial strength. China's manufacturing dominance gives it a major edge in shipbuilding, drones, and munitions. Chinese shipyards outpace U.S. capacity, allowing rapid fleet expansion and repair. In a prolonged conflict, this industrial advantage could prove decisive. China also controls much of the world's rare earth supply, critical for advanced military tech. The U.S. is scrambling to diversify supply chains, but progress is slow. America's innovative private sector and global financial clout remain strengths. China's state-led model, however, is highly effective at mobilizing resources for strategic goals. The contest is as much about economic systems as military hardware. The outcome will shape global power for decades. The era of uncontested American military dominance is over. U.S.-China competition now defines the global order, with China challenging U.S. power on multiple fronts. This is not a repeat of the Cold War. China is a peer economic competitor, deeply integrated into the global system. U.S. security guarantees and freedom of navigation are being tested as never before. America remains powerful, but must adapt to a rival that can contest its influence, especially in Asia. The U.S. needs to invest in its industrial base, technology, and alliances, treating partners as equals, not dependents. Diplomacy is crucial to manage competition and avoid catastrophic conflict. The world is watching how Washington and Beijing navigate this transition. The choices made now will shape the 21st century. The challenge is to compete without escalating to war. This is a test of strategy and wisdom for both nations. The stakes are global peace and prosperity. The future is being written today.